decorate the house?
No. I haven't bought any Stranger Things in like a year. I've been good.
As long as I'm not
there's no more to buy.
No, actually I have a checklist and I'm like, I still have like 14 I need. But they're the ones that like only come out at Comic-Con and they're like super expensive. So
nice. Very cool. All right, so this week we have Tracy Kaiser requested Fiha, so we have Fiha and Chris is joining us again. So Fee, since you're new this week, we like to start by like having you just catch us up, man. Tell us what you've been doing for the last 20 years.
Well, that's a lot of ground to cover. I'll give you some clip notes though. Some of the belle of the ball today. I was hoping to see a bigger cast of characters. So just as an idea, Matt, when we do these things, it'd be pretty cool if, maybe like a thumbnail, have one of the windows question mark, maybe make a game out of it or something like that.
Oh, like you're trying to like guess who it is, or?
Yeah, exactly. So clues in there or something like that, and just as an idea, that'd be fun.
So we don't have that, but we do have where I can show.
Yeah, this.
Yeah. You'll have to send that to me as long as we get Fee's sign off and Chris's sign off to use your guys' senior photos in the intro that I'll be doing for this week's podcast.
Yeah, sure. Definitely, please. So one thing that's different.
Go ahead. I was going to say I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
She was cutting you off to tell you.
So face value, one of the things that's different is obviously the hairdo. It's come a long ways, or maybe the complete opposite. If it's too much glare, let me know. I did bring a hat just in case.
No, man, you look aggressive. I like it.
Definitely aerodynamic, to say the least. Especially on swimming or something. So the last 20 years, what I've been up to, I'm a father now. So, my son, he's 9, turning 10 this year. His birthday is in October. Wedding is to be determined. COVID definitely put a little bit of brakes on the whole process. Career-wise, I'm back in blue is what I call it. So I was with AT&T for quite some time. And then now I'm back with them. They made a pretty compelling offer and it's a pretty sweet gig at the moment. What else? Is there anything specifically you guys would want to know, or maybe some little direction?
Did you go off to college? Like, what'd you do after high school?
All right. Okay. So that's how far we're going. Yeah. So I went I wasn't sure when was a good starting point. So right after high school, I went to San Diego State. I was there for a couple of years. Definitely enjoyed the college experience. Marty recruited me to work in telecom, and that really changed the trajectory of my education path for a little bit. I don't know if he's ever talked to you about it, but we were basically at the forefront of getting everyone's cell phones. Like, this is when people didn't have cell phones. We're those guys in the mall where if you walked by, we get you to stop and sign up for service. And it's amazing to see how much that has progressed, up until this point. But we're there from conception. You think about like the 3595, those Nokia phones with the face plates and the belt clips. We were there. So he got me into the industry. Made pretty good cheese and change. So I figured, you know what? I'm just going to put a pause on school for a little bit and just do this. So that's what I did. Eventually, I did go back to school because I felt it was important to finish my education and get a degree, which actually helped me with where I'm at right now, because that was actually one of the criteria to progress in the career path. So there's that. Lived all over San Diego. I mean, we were downtown for a little bit, and that was tons of fun. If you guys have never had a chance to do it, if there's an opportunity, definitely do so. Went to Mira Mesa, always loved Claremont. And then landed in Santee. So I'm not too far away from Marty. So if you look at that little covering, it's kind of towards that direction, and maybe to the right of it. So yeah, that's the clip note version. So anything else? Am I missing anything? Do you want my favorite color? Food? What are you guys looking at?
You look more filled out than you did in high school. You've been working out.
Yeah, so I'm definitely preparing for the summer and working on my father figure. Got a nice little gym build in the garage, so we're blessed to have that at our disposal. Yeah, so definitely blossomed, to say the least.
Do you feel any anticipation or trepidation about going back to like our 20-year reunion, like you? Because I feel like I have to, like, we've talked about it like previously, that I feel like I have to like lose a certain amount of weight, or I want to lose a certain amount of weight. Like I want to like have some things in a row, like before. Like I didn't know if everyone else was kind of nervous just about, if you're just like, whatever, this is who I am. Like if everyone's if I'm the only one without confidence.
That's a really good question, and I think just putting that on the table will put a lot of people at ease, and just kind of going through these. Are you guys calling podcasts? Is that what it is?
Yeah, podcasts, vlogs, whatever.
It keeps it real, it keeps it fresh. But like you said, I did have a little bit of anxiety coming onto here, and one of the goals I had in mind before, or maybe right after leaving high school, was when I come back and see these guys again, I'm going to do something great. My name's going to be on somewhere on a building. You're going to go out in the paper, maybe see me on TV, or whatever the case may be. Like something to be proud of. We pull up in an exotic vehicle or something. So short of that, for now. I mean, I think for all of us, there's still plenty of time on the clock to kind of get where we need to be. And it's also kind of refreshing to hear and know that we're all doing okay at the end of the day. Regardless of where we are in life, we got here, we're still alive, and it's something to be grateful for. One of the things I was really excited about jumping on this call was just to see some familiar faces and to read some familiar names. I wanted to stop by my parents' house and get my yearbook so I can kind of go back. So much time has passed. It's like, am I going to remember every single person that's going to be on this call? Or at least, get some jump start around my memory. Yeah. I think being in shape is definitely one of them. So I want to make sure if and when that happened, I'd be in the best shape possible, just to feel as confident as possible too.
That's cool. Do you feel that way, Chris? Do you feel like any weird emotions about like going back to a high school reunion 20 years after the fact?
Actually, I had a thought, like, after being on last time, and the big thing was that I was an idiot back then. Like, I wanted this, I felt sorry about a lot of the things I've said and done. and like, especially, like, I thought about there were some girls that liked me that I didn't give the time of day. And they were pretty awesome. And I probably wouldn't be where I am now if I ever dated them, because I'd probably still be with them. So I don't have any regrets. But I also feel sorry that I didn't give them the time of day, because some of them are pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was one thing I think about.
Nice.
Just for your viewing pleasure.
That was like 40 pounds ago.
I don't know if it's physically possible for me to go back to the weight that I was my senior year or freshman year. I feel like I'd have to like be borderline anorexic.
I would never.
All that muscle mass you've worked so hard for, you'd have to lose it.
Yeah, that's true. It'd be a sacrifice.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we go around and just a random question I had, you guys can take turns answering. But kind of like what Chris was saying, because sometimes I think about not just high school, but like stuff in the past. And I'm like, oh, like if I went back to this person that like I felt like I was a jerk to, or I said something like disrespectful to, or like should I go back and say something to them? Or will like the fact that I'm like, hey, you remember this thing that I said or did? I wanted to apologize for that. And they're like, okay, I don't see why you're apologizing. I haven't thought about that in 20 years. And then I look like the guy that's just like sitting there at night going through like all my regrets and being like, oh, this person's probably like still upset about this, still think about this. And they're like, no, I don't, that's not even crossed my mind since it happened.
I think
I
my
don't think
experience with that is the opposite. Like, there's some things that I wish people would apologize to me for.
Ah,
But
Jackie's throwing that down for all the viewers that may have done her wrong. She's waiting, everyone.
but I don't feel like I
Okay.
have anything to apologize to somebody for.
I definitely do.
But do you ever
definitely.
wonder if like trying to apologize for it is just like would be more awkward than just like talking to someone and then acting like it never happened?
Yeah, I think so, because it's like, you know, we were 16, 17, like I was definitely not mature enough to understand the implications of things that I said and that I did. And when you're, you know, 20 years later and you're like, oh man, if that ever came out of my mouth now, like, oh my God, I would be, you know, the most horrible person. But you look back at it and, you know, again, like that's the growing process, right? Like you didn't know how bad it was. I was talking to, it's funny that we're talking about this because I was talking to Aaron Acosta yesterday about getting him on for the, one of these. And he was like, man, I don't know if I want to get on there and like have people who like I come across that don't like me and have to be in the same meeting. And I was like, I know what you mean, man, because there's a few people that we could get on a call with, and they might be like, you know what, Marty, I remember when you know,
Yeah.
said this or something like that. And I'm like, ooh, I'm not looking forward to that. But yeah, it's interesting that we're talking about this because that's obviously on a lot of people's minds.
Like if certain people are at the reunion and like if they see me, is their first thought going to be like, oh, there's that dickhead that did this like 20 years ago? Are they gonna be like, oh, it's not like I haven't seen him in a while, it's good to see him again?
My thing, Matt, is like I like who would you have done anything? Like you were the nicest guy, dude. I feel like everybody universally loved you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was definitely one of the most popular people in our class. So, but I mean, aside from that, I don't know. There's without mentioning names, but there's definitely like a girl that I was interested in that was interested in me that like, because at the time, like I was super religious, right? Like not that I'm not like super religious now, but it was a different kind. Like I was way more like obstinate and arrogant about the things that I thought and believed. But that like came up before we like, I don't know, like started dating, and like the stuff that I said to her, like from a religious standpoint, was super disrespectful and uncalled for. And that kind of just ended our, not only like the chances of us like dating, but just kind of our friendship in general, which we were like good friends before that. So like, I know, like that's an example. So like if they were at the reunion, like I would be like, oh, is that the first thing that's going to cross their mind? And is that going to set the tone for me, like talking to them? Or are they going to be like, oh, you're doing good, I'm doing good? Like, I haven't thought about that. Like, because like Fee was saying, like you leave high school and you have this idea that you're going to like have a certain level of success or do a certain amount of things. But then I found like as I got older, like all those like definitions and expectations and just my values have changed pretty much completely since high school. So like I view everyone, I view all of you, and I view like everything in my life through that lens now of like my just kind of different perspective. But like, yeah, I don't know if other people, like if that person specifically would be like, oh no, like everything's fine. Like Fee was saying, like he likes his life now, and Marty and Jackie and Chris, I think you would say that like you wouldn't trade what you have now for like it being a different way. So if everyone's on that page of like, oh, I'm perfectly fine where I am now, then none of that stuff really matters. But I don't want that to be things they're thinking about when like I see them for the first time at the reunion.
I think there's a degree of statute of limitations too. Once you cross a certain threshold time, it's okay, right? So, I mean, one example I'll throw out there is, if you guys were present for this story, and this is a story we've said a couple times, and I think Marty already knows just by looking at his face. This guy right here, he pantsed me in front of the whole entire school as everyone was leaving. That school ended, and everyone's walking to the bus, and there's this huge crowd of people, and I'm standing there talking to Brian Wynn. It's in his car, his door's open, and I'm wearing, at that time, remember Structure, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wore those stupid little shorts, and then he comes by, or he runs up behind me, grabs my shorts, not just my shorts, but my boxers, and just pulls them all the way to my fucking ankles in front of the whole fucking school, right? And then on top of that, to make it worse, he takes my shirt and pulls it up. And I'm standing from like neck all the way down to my ankles, just naked. My junk is all up in Brian's face, and he's just like in pure shock. Like, why is this so close to my face? So yeah, I forget. It's after that.
I think I was walking with you, Matt. I was walking with you when I saw Phi. I ran.
I don't remember ever seeing Phi's Franken Beans.
I don't remember that either.
But if I owe somebody an apology to, it's probably Brian to win for pantsing Phi and like giving Brian that view, because Brian was sitting like I'm sitting in his car, and Phi was standing right here talking to him. So he was,
makes sense.
eye level and within like maybe a foot of, physical contact with Phi.
That's awesome.
I would say I think I remember
the shorts.
When I was running away.
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said the shorts by itself would have been like a masterpiece, but I feel like the shirt over the head, like that's genius.
Speaks volumes about how he's so successful in everything he does. He takes the opportunity and really maximizes it.
Yeah.
How can I make the situation that much better?
I remember when I was running away, and I was looking back, and I remember Brian like outside of his car, like, like hands over his face, like devastated by what had just happened to Phi, but really it just happened to him. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, trying to run Marty down was nearly damn impossible. This guy. So, yeah, things can be forgiven and forgotten. Yeah.
Jacqueline.
Yeah, go for it.
Say it again.
I was going to say Jacqueline's got a. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I actually had nothing to say.
Okay, Jackie, go. Your turn, Jackie.
Well, I was just going to say to your account, Matt, I feel like you, Marty, and I kind of have the upper hand because we are doing this every week, and we're going on, and we're already telling people where we are in our life, and we're already making it known, like you just said, like there's somebody that you had a close friendship with that went Ari for comments you made, and you've already put it out there now. You see, we have the upper hand because we talk every week, and we're on here every week, and we can put that out there. So when the reunion does come, it's not as awkward for us because we've already put it all out there.
So what you're saying is if I bring up unnamed people in podcasts, we have to find a way to make sure they're in the group and watching these episodes. So I don't have to approach them directly.
Yeah, we got to get our viewership up high enough so that people see this stuff and are like, get the tangential apology and are like, oh, okay, Matt felt sorry about that, so it's cool. I'll cross them off my to kill list or something like that.
Excellent.
I was gonna say, Jacqueline actually, I think I pissed you off, Jacqueline, in high school. What year was that? I think it might have been sophomore year. I think I said something to you once that really made you mad at me. Do you remember that?
I feel like I kind of do, but I honestly don't remember what you said.
Okay, well, let's not get into that, but so I apologize for it.
I feel like she's
Now
been
you
mad
gotta
at all
just
of
say
us.
it.
Yeah.
What's that?
I
I
think
think-
I have been mad at all of you guys, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point.
Well,
Come on,
There was
Marty,
a-
let's just hash it out. Let's go.
Oh no, if you forgot about it, that's preferred. I remind you, I don't want to bring any of that back up. But there's another girl. So I won't name her because she's happily married and everything now. But we almost got together in high school. I don't know if it was sophomore or junior year, and I did her wrong. I did her wrong at a dance. I was truly at that time in like this weird love triangle where there was two chicks that I was like into, but I couldn't figure out which one I was supposed to be picking. And then the more aggressive one ended up like making out with me at a dance. And then the other one, who I owe the apology to, like, was like, what just happened? I thought something was, happening between us. And so I kind of like hardcore dissed her at a dance when we were like on the verge of being boyfriend and girlfriend. And I mean, we're cool now. We're definitely cool now, but I always was like, damn, that was such a jerk move of me to do that. That was terrible.
it's always fun hearing your guys' high school experiences because I don't know. It wasn't until like I think like later in senior year, like I finally like had girls that liked me, and I was like, a girl at this school? She likes me? And Marty's like, yeah, well, this one time I was trying to decide between 4 chicks, and I may have been a little rude picking the correct one.
So many. Huh?
Yeah.
So,
I don't
Fee,
think
do
so,
you got
Matt.
any?
I think you were just shut off to it.
I was wondering if you had any good stories from the Asian club because I got some crazy memories.
Wow. Good question. Give me a second to think about it. But if you have something top of mind, by all means.
What pops into my mind is our Six Flags trip. It's like the only thing I did with the club. Yeah.
See, this is
You
where the
guys
photo-
weren't even in the Asian climate. You're not in this picture.
That was senior year. No, this is the picture. You had to show up for that. Yeah. They were all there.
Is that-
That's funny.
Is that Joe Spano in there? Who's the
No,
didn't see the
that's
I didn't see the
Michael Head.
picture. Ah, okay.
Michael Head. Michael Head.
He lived down the street.
Oh, man.
He was like a block away from me. It was pretty cool. Has anyone talked to him recently or seen him in flesh at all? Or
I
we
always
should
felt
try
like
to
he
hunt him
would be
down.
like, he would end up on like SNL. He had that very, like, that calm humor that he just popped
Mhm.
into. Yeah, he was funny.
Yeah, I remember senior year, one of my favorite Michael Head moments was we were in like AP Poli Sci together. And I don't know if you guys remember that professor. Was that junior year? I don't know. It was either junior or senior year. And he was like a really eclectic professor from like the Mesa Community College, and he came down to teach the AP Poli Sci class at Madison. And he's talking to us. He's like, what makes humans different than dogs? And he's trying to say like, we organize and we have, politics and things like that. And Michael Head goes, sweat glands. And it only gets funnier as we get older. You know what I mean? That was such a good one. Yeah, we gotta track that guy down. That was a good dude.
yeah.
So,
Well-
see, we would ask you, our normal question is tell us an embarrassing story, but I think you've already covered that with the whole dancing.
Does it count as the most embarrassing story?
Yeah,
I
I would say yes if I were you.
I would ask. Thanks, Marty. Thank you.
It's a good one.
It is a good-
All right. I think you had a girlfriend for a long time in high school, but did you have any like crushes you'd like to out?
Me?
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend in high school, yes. Did I have any crushes? That's a tough question to answer.
someone that doesn't know that they were your crush, so that Marty can put it in the show notes and we could up the viewership for this week.
Yes, that's
He
right.
reveals his secret crush.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough question to answer. I might have to be the fifth on that one. Like overall, I'm a pretty private person, so disclose that. It's pretty uncomfortable. So I'm gonna politely pass on that one.
Okay. That's fine.
I got a
Wow,
good one
even
for
after
that.
20 years.
I guess
Go
the
ahead,
statute of
Chris.
limitations is different in that.
So when I moved to San Diego, it was fifth grade. I think we went to school together, Jackie. I'm not sure.
Did you go to Lindbergh?
No, then we didn't. It was junior high. And anyway, fifth grade, I move in and I get a crush on this girl, and she's a tomboy. And the funny thing is, it was Maria Bro, and she ended up like at the end being next to Marty with the most attractive people. And I was like, man, I had good aim there, but that never went anywhere.
So
I
that's
think-
the name rings bells. Do you have a picture?
Of Maria.
It's Maria. I have
she
it.
has it.
I think
I'll
a lot
pull
of
it up.
us had a crush on her, Chris.
Well, I'm just saying I was fifth grade, so it wasn't like
Oh,
I didn't get on the bandwagon. She was smart back then.
okay. So in
Oh.
the show notes, we're gonna put Chris Montoya reveals his biggest regret of the woman that he could have had.
The one that got away.
I think I never even talked to her really, other than after sixth grade.
You were right. She did get most attractive.
Right there next to Mark.
No, that's
Tristan.
Tristan. Oh, it should have been
But
you.
do you want to see Marty? I know Marty hates me for
No,
sharing this. I
yeah,
have
let's see
to,
it.
Marty.
uh,
So Marty didn't get most attractive. Instead, he got
Best physique.
the best
Best-
physique.
Mm,
Let me find it.
oh man.
Yeah.
Awesome. Oh, these are gems. Great. Should have
Now,
been more prepared.
Bad.
yeah, because I remember in high school, I was like, "Oh, Marty's got like, look at those jacked, huge, ripped arms," and now his arms are like 4 times as big as that.
Trying to keep up with you, Matt.
Oh, stop it. It's the testosterone replacement therapy I'm on because my body in its late 30s decided it didn't need to produce it anymore. So now I'm on the juice.
Hey,
Oh,
Matt, you're gonna have to give me your doctor's name so I can go and get a prescription from him. Because I just want testosterone replacement.
It was funny because it's a female doctor, and like I went in because at first I was like, I'm always tired all the time. Like I don't feel good. I'm sluggish. Like I can't ever feel rested. Like even if I get 12 hours of sleep, I still feel tired. And she's like, okay, well it could be low testosterone, so we're gonna test for that. She's like, have you had any other side effects? And like I saw where she was going with it, and I was like, I'm gonna have to discuss this stuff with her. And she's like, have you had trouble, getting erection or performing sexually? And she's like a younger woman, and I just was like, no, man, that works fine. This is all the time. I mean, trouble getting one. I mean, how about all the time? Like, I can't stop getting them. Like, I'm just tired. This is not a problem at all. It's like those weird things where, like, now when I'm going to the doctor, it's like getting increasingly more and more embarrassing about the stuff that I have to, like, discuss with doctors now that I'm getting closer to 40.
Oh man, it's so My doctor is also very young. She's like in her late 20s. And every time I go to see her, I'm like, "You're a kid. And you're my doctor. This is so weird."
Yeah, you're like, well, just one day you're gonna experience this. So if you could go look this up in your medical books and tell me what it's about. you probably haven't heard of this before because you are just a child.
But it's funny because they're young and they look super young. You know what I mean? Like my doctor, she's young and she really does look young. Like she's in that, like she's got that profile look where you could, if she was in regular clothes without like her doctor's jacket on, you might think she was like 20. Like that's
Right.
how like young she looks, you know, how youthful she looks. So it's just weird to have her like talking to me about like antidepressants or things like that like she's like, "Oh, there's, you know, this stuff for Xanax and stuff like that," you know, talking to me about that stuff. And I'm like, should you be even like recommending this stuff to me? This is crazy.
Marty's like,
Wild
yes,
stuff.
I've been sad lately. And she's like, well, here's what I like to do. I start my day. I go to Starbucks and I get a caramel macchiato. And then I go to Ulta, I get some makeup, and then I buy myself a pair of shoes and I'm happy. And you're like, can I see your doctor's license, please?
So it's funny, she's at a super good, like a really highly ranked sports therapy practice here in San Diego, sports medicine practice here in San Diego. And so I walked in there thinking, you know, I was going to get some like, you know, Jacqueline, anybody, don't give me any.
Get
Like,
in my
this is
head
just
like,
what I thought.
Marty, don't even say anything sexist right now.
Yeah, I just thought I was going to walk in there and have like a 50-something guy that runs like 700-mile marathon, you know, like extreme running or something like that. I thought I was going to have like that guy that was going to be like my doctor and like talk to me. And it ends up being like, and she's fine. She's great. It's just like, you know, she just looks so young. I won't say any more because I feel like if I say any more, I'm just going to like destroy myself. So I'll just stop.
It's always embarrassing. I went because I have like my wife and I have these like this like massage. It's not a subscription, but you know, like where you go to those massage places and you like pay every month and like they give you a credit for a monthly massage and you save a little money for it. So like I normally had like someone we like do couples massages, but I had to go by myself. And so there was this there was a younger girl and I think she had to be probably like 10 years younger than me. And yeah, I was feeling all like I was feeling all cocky because I was like, oh, she's about ready to get her hands on some muscle on a what if she's giving us like she's probably just massaging old people all day. I'm sure she's gonna like just getting her hands on this body. And then so like she started getting massaged and I was like, oh, so you know, like what do you like she's like, oh, I don't do this full time. And I was like, oh, that's cool. What where do you work? And she's like, oh, I work in the sports therapy department at ASU. I give the massages to all of the college athletes. And immediately I was like, oh, so you're used to touching like real men. I was like, ah, crap. But like, oh, this guy needs to do cardio.
Matt, what got you into like lifting, dude? What, like, how did that trigger? Because I don't think we've ever talked about that. And I know it wasn't something that you were, at least from what I knew, it didn't seem like something you were at all interested in back in high school.
Well, I had started, I think late 11th grade. Like I had like just like some home weights, like, you know, those benches you buy that have like the weights filled with like
I
sand
do
and
remember
stuff.
you talking about that.
Yeah. So I'd work at home, but it was mostly I was trying to lose weight because that was it seemed like the common denominator across middle school and high school of me not having a girlfriend. So I was like, okay, well, and then I started playing soccer. I think Son and I joined the JV soccer team. We were just like randomly were like, oh, let's play sports. What are these sports we've heard of? So we joined the soccer team and like I think that was when I started like I was a late bloomer. So I think that was my puberty was in 11th grade because that's when I started losing all my weight and stuff. So I was working out then. And then I did in college, and then I tried boxing for a while in college, and then not like at the college level. It was at a boxing gym, and then I don't know. I have off and on, but I usually like will work out for maybe like 6 months, and then I just stop for like 4 years, and then I start working out again for 6 months. So this time it seems to actually have stuck, but I think you've seen all my posts about injuries and stuff, so it's definitely
Yeah,
a
to
weird,
rack up.
yeah, it's a weird experience trying to get like healthy at this age. Cause um, yeah, in high school I was 165, and then college I stayed pretty like fit. And then I think I got up to like 220, um, like maybe 6 or 7 years out of high school. And then I started running. I actually did the Los Angeles Marathon in 2011 or 12. Um, it wasn't as easy as I was hoping it would be, but I did finish, so that at least was cool. But then came out to Arizona. I think I was like 190 when I came out here, and after 2 or 3 years of being out here, I got from 190 up to 260, and it wasn't working out weight. It was it was just sitting around, like staying up until 4 a.m. eating ice cream, and then sleeping till 5 p.m. the next day. Not doing stuff late, but then yeah. So now I'm like, uh, I started noticing that when I go upstairs, like a single flight of stairs, like I couldn't talk to anyone after just going up one flight of stairs because I was so out of breath. And I was like, oh, there's no way I'm gonna live past 65 if I don't get healthy again. So I don't know. I picked it up again. Um, that was one of those things I was gonna ask you guys. It's a nice segue. Because I know feeling like when I talk to you guys, like I still feel young, but then like you were talking about with the doctors and stuff, like in the right situation, I feel like super old. Like now when I go to the gym, if it's the peak hours, it's mostly like these like young, like 20 something year old like guys and girls with like their skin is still tight and body parts are where they're supposed to be, and like they're flexible and they can like bend over and touch their toes and things. And I'm like, oh, all of a sudden I feel like twice as old as I did when I was walking into this place. So do you guys like have that experience? Do you still like feel young, or are you starting to feel the hands of time ticking?
I'm
No, I
definitely more
definitely.
cognizant of injuries, just because I feel like the recovery is just so much longer compared to
Mm-hmm.
before. And I'd just much rather avoid it at all costs. I mean, it still happens.
Yeah.
Um, as far as walking in place and feeling older, I mean that's definitely the natural progression as we get closer to our 40s. And yeah, and it's great that we all care about fitness and we're doing what we can to stay in shape and keep up with these young cats that we see wherever. It also makes us feel good at the end of the day. For me, like one of my biggest motivators is to make sure I can still keep up with my son. He's pretty active and he likes basketball and soccer and all that stuff. So I want to be able to make sure I can participate and not just be on the sidelines, just barking at him. I just want to be out there on the court or on the grass, whatever. So yeah.
I did. I was gonna say I did what Matt did when I got a job as a contractor.
Mhm.
I just didn't do anything, so I gained like I got up to 189. I was 150 in that picture, so I was just got chubby because I could eat. And then I was in the army at the time, but I never did. I never worked out. I was like, yeah, I'm sweating, guys. I'm working out. I faked it the whole time.
Like spray
And,
ball.
and then 2012, like the end of my contract, I was working full time with some guys in Phoenix, and I actually started liking going to the gym. And I was like, oh, I could do this every day. It's good for me. And I saw this commercial that if you ever see that Ensure commercial,
Yeah.
and it's talking about how when you're 40, you start losing muscle mass. And I'm like, oh, I need something to lose. So I've been working out since 2012, and I didn't get any bigger. I got a little heavier, but like you guys look muscly, and I look like I did before I started. I got heavier, just a little more dense.
Well, that was
No,
the one thing, like, well, starting out now, because I was like, okay, well, I'm older, so I have to be more careful because I'm going to get hurt easier. But then, like, I started going to the gyms, and there was either younger guys that were lifting heavier or older guys lifting heavier. So I felt like that pressure, like, oh, I'll throw a few more plates on and I'll just work through the pain. But the one thing, I think the difference now, Chris, between working out now and working out when I was in college, I was like, oh, I'll just like maybe have 2 meals and like a protein shake. And then I'd go to the gym, there'd be these like huge jacked guys. So like for the last year and a half, which is one of the reasons why I haven't been able to lose weight, I was eating anywhere from 4,000 to 5,000 calories a day. So there's a lot of stuff with like nutrition and stuff that you have to take into account, or you can get like more defined, but if you're not you have to be in like a calorie surplus almost to like put on significant amount of muscle.
I'm the other way around. I just work out so I can eat all the junk I like to eat.
Well, I do that too. Like I did the stair stepper for an hour last night, and then I got home and I was like, looks like it's an entire pint of Halo Top ice cream for me tonight.
Only a pint. I used to eat the 5-gallon buckets. My mom would get them from like Costco, and I would eat that in a month. And I still right now have to stop myself from eating the whole tub of Bluebell.
Yeah, I don't have the healthiest relationship.
Matt, to comment on feeling old, I think it varies in the situation. Like sometimes I feel young, and my kids would even complain that I'm trying to be young. But other times I do feel old, but I think it's because of my kids, because they are older. Like I have a high schooler, and when I look at her and I'm like, when did you grow up? Like, how did you get so big? Like, am I that old?
Yeah.
That's what makes me feel old.
My
and I feel like,
students,
Chris, you could relate because you have older kids too. So I feel like,
yeah. Well, working for the Army, my students are usually, 18, 19, graduating from high school. And when they started approaching my daughter's age is when I started thinking, man, I guess I am old. Like these kids can't relate to me. They have no idea what they're talking about. Like I don't know how to use Twitter or whatever. I don't know. Whatever they're using.
Chris is like, oh, are you guys doing that Tic Tac dance that I've heard so much about?
That's all I know. Yeah, Snapchat's for bad people. That's what I know. You don't let the kids play on that.
No.
Because the picture's erased for a reason.
Yeah, that's
funny.
So, Sophie, with you saying that you were working out for to keep up to stuff with your kids, because that was one of the things I was thinking about is since my wife and I are still trying to have kids and haven't figured out how that's going to happen, if it's fertility or adoption or whatever. But then I was thinking like, yeah, since I will be close, if not 40 by the time I have my first kid, I was like, I don't want to like take them to a park as a toddler and not be able to like catch them if they run away, because I'll be out of breath. But have you noticed, like, does your wife notice it? Like, does she like, oh, Fee, you're getting home, like take your shirt off, you look sexy? Or is she like, oh, it's nice you have a hobby that you're interested in?
No, what's pretty cool is that she has a fitness mindset as well. So
Okay.
we got a Peloton in our gym, and she's been really disciplined and diligent about waking up at 5:30, going to these classes, going for an hour. She has a little community that she rides with. She'll host like virtual trainings, with her friends. So it is nice to be with someone that shares the same mindset when it comes to fitness. It makes it easier. We both enjoy that space. I don't feel guilty if if I'm shopping for gym stuff. I usually get
Right.
vetoed or anything like that. So it is kind of nice. Yeah. So she's pretty good with that. If anything, she's been groping me more, which is kind of flattering. Like it's she'll ask me like pick up my shirt and stuff like that. So it's something. You do work really hard to achieve a certain physique. And it's just more than throwing around some iron. You know, there's a science to it. You know, you have to be disciplined, and like you said earlier, there's this whole nutrition that comes along with it. So as far as for me, the goal I was trying to set for myself this year was to get to at least 145, about 10% body fat, and that's kind of where I'm at right now, which is incredible because you know it's so easy, you know, being our age to really kind of go off the deep end, I guess is one way to put it. Yeah, and you know, there's a point where I got to like $160 and my body fat percentage was closer to like 20, maybe 20 something. I was walking around kind of heavy and I wasn't very good about myself. You know, the clothes I had weren't fitting the way I wanted to fit. And it's just, it kind of, I can see it kind of impact my confidence as well. So, you know, and it's important when you're in sales, you want to feel good about yourself. You want to, you know, have like a strong presence when you're trying to sell something. So anyways, so that kind of got recalibrated the mindset a bit and really put me on this path. The one thing that I am doing differently compared to before is I actually haven't drank for almost 2 months now, and it feels really good. You know, I have a lot more clarity when it comes to just my mind and thinking and just being more present. It feels like. So I feel like just that alone has made the biggest impact in my fitness and physique. Not that I'm never going to drink, but for the time being, I'm really enjoying the perks of it. You know, like really leaning out and filling in the way I want to. So that's been good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard with I noticed that with alcohol that like even if I was just having like a couple beers, like 2 or 3, like after 2 or 3 beers, I'd be like, oh, I'm not doing anything the rest of the night. Like, like it's like as soon as like I had alcohol in my system, I was like, oh well, I'm just going to relax. I'm gonna eat food because it tastes good right now, and I'm like all my extracurricular activities outside of work and stuff, I just stopped doing because if I was like drinking on a Friday night, I'd be like, oh, all this stuff I had planned, I'm like too sleepy. I don't want to do it anymore.
Oh, that's totally it. You know, and really, it's the next day where I feel the most guilty because then you know Ethan, he'll kind of hang around, and there's this one day or this one morning I slept like 12, 1 o'clock, you know, and he was just kind of idle doing his thing, going on the screen, reading whatever, but I just felt like a terrible father. Like I literally wasn't present. Physically, mentally, I just could not be. I needed to recover. And that wasn't okay anymore. So, so yeah, it feels good. I encourage you guys to maybe do it for a little bit just to see how you feel. And it'll definitely impact how you look for sure, guaranteed. Yeah, so, and it depends on what your goals are too. So,
Yeah.
okay,
Well, I'm gonna make a comment on that because I know you guys all talk about working out and loving it, and maybe that's a guy thing. Because I'll be 100% honest with you, I hate working out. I do not like it at all. And I know some people who will say like, "Oh, you just have to do it, and afterwards you'll feel good." I don't feel good after. During, I hate it. Like I don't like it one bit, and I would be okay with never doing it again in my life. That's just me, though.
where you can definitely do that. And then,
I think I always have
Jacqueline.
to. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say, Jacqueline, that's my wife too. She absolutely hates working out, doesn't want anything to do with it. Like only very special circumstances will she do it if she's going to do it, and she doesn't care if I'm doing it or not either.
Yep.
Ellen met me when I was in my worst possible shape, so I know she actually truly likes me for me. And then when I got in really good shape, it didn't matter to her. Like she had no interest. But the one cool story about being in good shape that I have, like the one vindication moment that I have with her of like why I put in that kind of work was when her and I went to the Grand Canyon a couple years ago. I think it was 2017. We hiked into the Grand Canyon. It was like 12 miles we had to hike in. While you're down there, it's like a 16 to 18 mile round trip hike that you do down there with all the waterfalls that we went to. And then you have to hike 12 miles out. So over a 3-day span, we ended up hiking like 48 miles in 3 days. And on the hike out, she was like, like there was multiple points where she was like, just leave me behind. Just leave me behind. Like, I just need to sleep. And I was like, babe, I can't do that. I can't leave you. That's not how this works. I can't leave you in the desert like that. And I took both of our backpacks and I was hiking with both of our backpacks. And she was like, babe, you're a beast. Oh my God, you're such a beast. Oh my God, you're incredible that you're able to, like, she was so exhausted that I was doing that was like this superhuman feat for her. And to hear her like so appreciative of that and like, in that moment, like have your wife like so appreciate that so much, like made all that worth it, because she really otherwise she really doesn't care, and that's fine, you know.
It is my wife's the similar way. She likes it because I'm less angry and aggressive in general, like throughout the week when I work out, because that's kind of like my time to just let myself get super pissed and just like process my emotions from the day or the week. But yeah, I'll walk in and I'll just take my shirt off and I'll reach into the cupboard and flex a little bit. And I like look over to see if she's looking, and I was like, hey, do you see, like, do my arms look bigger? And she's like, oh yeah, honey, they look good. That's nice. And she just goes back to whatever she was doing.
My wife's the same way too. And she took a picture of me on the beach one time. And I was looking back and I had these like rolls or something going on. And I was like, that was my pure motivation to just do something. Like nothing on me should be jiggly. That's my rule.
Yeah.
Definitely think it's a guy thing, because everything that you guys are saying, that's how my husband feels. Like at one point when I was pregnant, he got pretty big too. He was eating while I was eating, I guess. and he got pretty big too. And when we look back at those pictures, he's like, dang, like you still loved me then. I'm like, yeah, I've loved you big, little. I prefer you little.
Well, it also probably helps that Marty's wife and you, Jackie, already look like you're like fit and in shape. Like, I think there's extra motivation if like Chris was saying, like, because when I'm getting dressed and ready and in the mirror and I'm looking at myself, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm looking hot today. Like, I am going to go out there and people are going to be like, damn, who's this guy at Walmart? Like, he looks amazing. And then like just that,
Walmart.
Yeah, it's my favorite store. Shut up, buddy. But like that night I'll go over to my sister's house, like to be with family, and they'll take a picture and it's like a side angle of me. And I'm like, I look like Shrek. Like my body proportion is all like out of whack. And I'm like, how does it look so different in a mirror? And then like you just rotate a camera like
the gym mirrors
degrees.
The gym mirrors always make you look buffer. They're like, you know how like they'll make women look thin in their mirrors, they make the men look wider.
I'm saying, wait, how does that work? How can you make a woman
mirror?
thin?
It's different in the men's room. It's bowed one way, and the women's room's bowed the other way.
I'm just talking about my bathroom mirror, like at home.
That's actually something you commented on, the feeling old again. So I was lucky to have a very good metabolism, and I never had a problem. Like high school, I was always little. College, I hit puberty late too. I didn't get my boobs until I graduated. They are real. But I was like Aaron, who was my play brother. He used to say I had mosquito bites in high school, and then the summer I graduated high school, I went to a triple D. So I developed late, and I was lucky to stay pretty fit and small without having to exercise. It was just natural for me. And now that I'm 37, I'm noticing that metabolism is slowing down and I can't get by with not doing anything. And I think that's also why it makes it harder for me to want to work out, because I never had to. I've never had the discipline of needing to. So to all of a sudden be forced to, I don't like it.
Well, I noticed two things. First, I didn't think they were small in high school, Jackie. So, and then the second, because you don't like, even if even if you don't like working out, it seems like you're still like into health. Like you have more like the stuff you're into is more like kind of a holistic like approach to well-being, right? So like
Yeah.
whereas I will like go to the gym and listen to angry screaming music for 2 hours because that's how I decompress. Like you're like you have a more like calm, like meditative, like do healthy things for your body approach to being healthy. So I think you're still obsessed, but it's just in like from a different angle that like a guy that wants to watch himself do bicep curls in a mirror. Like not that I do that, but that's kind of that's my form of like your miracle morning right now.
Got it.
Awesome.
Well, it's been an hour, guys.
Has it really?
They always fly by, don't they?
Nice. Speaking of health, I have a double quarter pounder with cheese that's been out there waiting for me for the last hour.
Before we get off, Phi, who do you nominate that has to jump on for a future podcast?
Oh man, I wish I had some time to think about it, but on the spot, I would have to say I like to see Brian and win on. You know, I mean, we did talk about him, and we'll see him on this platform. Brian,
All right.
please join us.
Hey, what if we had a Brian, and since we mentioned him in the podcast, you showed the picture with Maria, we could ask Tristan if he wants to join.
Tristan Sorenzi? Did I say
Yeah.
that?
Yep.
Oh, that'd be a good one too.
Yeah.
Really, anyone from the yearbook would be great. Again, I wish I'd had it, and you have it. So, are you just checking folks off? Is that how you guys are doing it? Or is it all 13 nominations?
It's more like an organic thing of like we started out with inviting people and then have that like when we ask whoever we're talking to at the time who they think should join, and then just kind of if it's someone one of us like wants to talk to or catch up on or seems like they'd be interesting, we'll ask on, and then usually like we'll have the nominations of future guests too. Or we'll ask when we post the video, we also ask in the Facebook group if people are interested in being on. So it's not like it's just us deciding. If someone expresses an interest in it, we also accommodate that.
A couple other names come to mind as Jacob Guyman.
Oh yeah,
Oh, that'd be a great one.
yeah.
Yeah, get some more interesting folks in here. I mean,
He seems like he'd be a good storyteller.
oh yeah, absolutely. Like characters just kind of stand out. Top of mind. How about Christina Saccio? She was always
another good one.
thinking like the drama class because they're always fun characters to have around.
And just to let everybody who is watching know, we are still trying to get Clister and Aaron. They are likely going to be on maybe next week. And then Marty also sent a invite to Samantha Trin.
Formerly Dang, formerly Sam Dang, now Trin.
I had an idea also to start like for the reunion part, start music. Like as we were talking about music the other day, and then maybe have people offer songs that they're gonna want to hear. And
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could start a reunion playlist on Spotify.
You could do that, yeah.
That's such a great idea.
Wait, why do you have a problem with Spotify, Chris?
No, I just don't know how to work stuff. So.
Oh, okay. We'll show you, old man. We'll teach you how to.
Yeah.
We'll teach you the
things,
apps.
I buy things in person, and I don't know how to text. I'm an old man.
Nice, cool. Well, Phi, Chris, Matt, Jacqueline, always good to catch up with you guys. If you, Phi and Chris, if you guys want to keep joining, please keep joining. We're trying to get as many people on this to keep the conversation going and keep people interested in it. Everybody last week said that they really liked the idea of like an informal get together this year and then something more formal next year when everything with COVID-19 calms down. So I think that's what we're trying to work towards. Pete, before we go, there was one question that I wanted to ask you that I meant to ask you at the beginning to kick off the conversation. What are your thoughts on all the Asian hate crimes?
Oh, absolutely terrible. I mean, it breaks my heart every single time, I read about it, and there's absolutely no need for that, and we're all people. We all have families, friends, moms, dads, like we're freaking people. So it's important that we treat each other, the way that you would treat someone you care about. There's no need to segregate and, and do that. And it is just terrible. It makes me seriously sick, and I'm trying to not use profanity or get emotional about it, but yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to end it on a negative note. But yeah, I agree with you, man. Crazy stuff that we're seeing out there.
Yeah, especially like the older, Asian people. Like I think my mom, I mean, she relocated to America, raised 4 kids, not speaking the language, acquired property, and we're all still alive. Like that is incredible. That takes like an amount of like resilience and grit. Like, it's beyond something that I could personally do. If you remove me from the US and be in a different country and try to do what she did, I'd have a really hard time. And then to think about, the possibility of her just going out and being attacked, that's just fucking crazy. And she's like the nicest person you would ever meet. So yeah, it makes me sick to my stomach.
What also is upsetting about it, like when you see the videos of things happening, are like the people that are watching and don't do anything. And I don't know if it's just fear because they think they're going to get attacked, but like there was like my wife was showing me one video of this guy attacking an older woman, and there was like multiple guys that were like around and saw it and like just sat there like they were like trying to figure out like what was going on, and like instead of going out and helping, they like closed the door to the outside where it was happening. And like, because I understand that there's going to be people like that disrespect minorities or people of different ethnicities and disrespect women, but it's always kind of shocking when you see like the lack of other people getting involved or caring about it. But so I don't know if that's frustrating. It seems like if you guys have seen the videos, like if that's frustrating.
I saw that one.
Yeah, like sometimes I'll be like, oh, I wish something like that would happen in front of me because I'd probably go to jail for what I do to the person that was attacking the person. But I don't know. It also feels helpless because it doesn't seem like I see stuff posted online about it, but sometimes I wonder like how much actually posting about it online matters, because it's like if I post about it online, most of the people that I'm friends with aren't those kind of people. So like whose minds, like how can we change people's minds if like my friends list is people that are already like not racist? I don't know.
Good question.
You're a wise man, Booth. You're a wise man.
You guys, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the
Seeing you.
thanks for the buzz kill, Marty. I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys. Happy to contribute. Later.
All right. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.